Phlur made their most popular body spray into a fragrance, so let's review Phlur Vanilla Skin. Hey, what's up guys? Hunter here and welcome back to the channel where I upload weekly fragrance content, so you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button down below and also make sure to follow me over on my Instagram page. But today we are reviewing the newest fragrance from Phlur, which is Vanilla Skin. However, they did initially launch this last year in a body spray concentration, which I also do own, but honestly, I've never wore it. I never reviewed it or anything like that because me personally, I'm not a fan of body sprays, even though the scent profile was pretty good for a vanilla. So when I saw they came out with the perfume version of it, I was like, yeah, that's gonna be much better. And if you are familiar with Phlur, they do actually have a huge catalog of fragrances that can be found over at Sephora and of course on their website. One of my favorites from this house is Tangerine Boy, which actually made my list for summer fragrances of last year. It actually made it high up on the list as well. So this house is very good. I do own, I believe, 9 fragrances from them now. And this one's absolutely gonna be up there along with Tangerine Boy. But I also do wanna shout out Phlur for sending this one over for review. Of course, I'm still gonna keep it completely honest with you guys. If I enjoy the fragrance, I enjoy it. If I don't, I don't, and I'm gonna keep that completely transparent. Now, let's go over some information. So Vanilla Skin in this fragrance concentration was launched, of course, in 2024. It just came out within like the last month at the time of this recording. But like I said, the body spray version of this one came out last year. The retail price on the only size you can get the bottle in, which is a 50 ml, is gonna run you $99. There is also a 10 ml travel spray, which retails for I think $29 if you just want to like try it out first. The concentration with this one, along with most of the Phlurs, or if not all of the Phlurs, is an eau de parfum, so you are getting a pretty highly concentrated fragrance, of course above something like an eau de cologne or an eau de toilette, which is nice. The perfumer that made Vanilla Skin is Clement Gaviry, which has created some heavy hitters such as Ariana Grande's Cloud, which is probably the most popular fragrance for women. Nearly every time I leave the house, I smell a woman wearing Cloud. And if you don't know, Ariana Grande's Cloud is inspired by Mason Francis Kurkdjian's Baccarat Rouge 540, just a little bit sweeter from my experience. So he is the nose behind Vanilla Skin. Now with all the information out of the way, let's look at the packaging and presentation you'll get with Vanilla Skin now. All right, so firstly, taking a look at the box, you are gonna get that traditional Phlur box, but of course in this case, you have this kind of brown background going on, which looks nice. Vanilla Skin Eau de Parfum. On the bottom, you will have your barcode and batch code to authenticate your product to see when it was produced, as well as some information and ingredients. On the back, you will find all of your notes. This is a gourmand, of course, and then nothing on top besides the Phlur kind of embossed in that box. But let's look at the bottle now. All right, take a look at the bottle, which I actually do like these design of these Phlur bottles. They do look very nice, of course, very simplistic as well. Of course, Vanilla Skin on the front. On the bottom, you will have your kind of information engraved in the glass, which is a nice touch, as well as your batch code right there. Nothing on the back. On top, you do have the Phlur logo. And this cap almost looks like a marshmallow cap. It is a different kind of texture as well, but it is heavy. Nothing inside of the cap, nothing on the atomizer. And a bonus is that these are magnetic, which is always my favorite types of caps. In the top, you have sugar, pink pepper, and red apple. In the mid, you have cashmere wood, jasmine, and lily. And in the base, you have vanilla, benzoin, sandalwood, and oud. And this will be classified as a sweet woody. So let's spray this and test out these atomizers. Decent atomizer, does spray quite a bit of juice, even though it's not really pressurized, but that's not the biggest deal. So let's go ahead and remind myself of Vanilla Skin in the fragrance concentration. So right away when you spray this fragrance, you are gonna get this very sweet, sugary note immediately. It's ultra sugary, very, very sweet. If you are somebody that loves those kind of sugary, sweet, candy-like fragrances, you will absolutely enjoy the opening of Vanilla Skin. However, alongside that sugary note, you are gonna get this fruity red apple kind of combined together. It's almost like a sugary apple is what I kind of detect. And that pink pepper is listed, but I'm honestly not getting much spice from this one. It's just ultra sweet and fruity in the opening. And of course, the perfumer that made this one being behind Cloud, he knows what he's doing when it comes to those sugary sweet fragrances. As we make our way into the mid of Vanilla Skin is we are mostly just gonna get this cashmere wood, which is very warm and cozy. Kind of just like if you're cuddled up underneath a cashmere blanket is the vibe I get from that note. Thankfully, I'm not getting any any of that jasmine or lily. There's no white florals really I'm detecting in the mid of this one, which might be a disappointment to some people that love white florals. Me, however, white florals most of the time turn very powdery, especially in the mid, but thankfully I'm not getting any of that, just a warm, cozy cashmere note. And then finally in the base is where you're gonna get that signature note, the vanilla, of course, which is very creamy, a little bit spicy, and just very warm, along with that resinous benzoin, which benzoin and vanilla go hand in hand. They're perfect kind of combined together because they're both kind of warm, creamy, and sweet. And it is interesting that this fragrance has the note of oud, because oud is a very kind of polarizing, offensive note in most cases. However, in this one, it's just going to be a rich, woody, slightly spicy oud. It's not going to turn too funky or barnyardy, which is very smart for Phlur to make it in this kind of way, because this is going to be a crowd-pleasing vanilla fragrance that can be found at like Sephora. And if they would have used like a barnyardy, funky oud, this one probably wouldn't sell as well. Not necessarily the way I like my oud done, but I can absolutely see why they went that route. I would say this is just a very sexy vanilla fragrance. Of course, in that opening, it's very sugary sweet that dries down to this warm, cozy cashmere. And in the base, you get that warm, kind of spicy, creamy vanilla benzoin and that very rich oud. And if you are familiar with the original body spray version of this one, it smells nearly identical. However, this one is obviously much more potent and concentrated and just comes across much more rich. So I would recommend anybody that loves the body spray version of Vanilla Skin, absolutely just go out and get a bottle of this one. You will not be disappointed. Like I said, I'm just personally not a fan of body sprays at all. And I do own 5 body sprays from Phlur. Basically all 5 of the initial releases, which makes me wonder if they'll turn any of the other body sprays into perfume concentrations, because there are some other pretty good ones, such as I believe Amber Haze was probably my second favorite alongside Vanilla Skin. Now for the best seasons to wear Vanilla Skin, if you do pick up a bottle of this one, for me personally, I'm rocking this one in the spring, fall, and winter time, not so much the summertime because of how like dense and rich this fragrance smells. I can see this being perfect on a nice kind of cold fall evening. This is the vibe I get mostly from Vanilla Skin. However, it still can be worn in like the winter and the springtime, especially like the spring evenings when it is a little bit more chilly outside, but not something you really want to wear when it's very hot out, because I could see this one becoming a little bit too cloying on skin. But regardless, when you think of vanilla fragrances, you obviously picture like fall and winter immediately. And that's the same exact case with this. Now for the best occasion to wear this one, I think this one is kind of versatile. It can be worn casual and a little bit more formal. But if I'm being honest, I picture this one in a very intimate situation. Like if you're cuddling up with your significant other or just anybody in general, getting close and intimate together, that's the perfect kind of a situation to wear this one. Of course, called Vanilla Skin. And we'll talk a little bit later why that is as well when it comes to the performance of it. But this is just a perfect kind of sexy, intimate, date night, kind of cozy, cuddling kind of situation fragrance right here with Vanilla Skin. It's absolutely gonna make whoever you're with want to come a little bit closer to you without a doubt. And that leads us into the gender of Vanilla Skin. Now, I believe all the Phlur fragrances are targeted as unisex. However, there are some that lean more feminine and some that lean a little bit more masculine, such as Tangerine Boy. This one, however, is unisex, leaning on the feminine side if I'm being honest. So for all my ladies out there that watch my channel, this is gonna be great for you. And for me personally, when I did wear this one, I was a little bit hesitant throughout the day because it does come across a little bit too feminine for my liking, even though I do wear some leaning feminine fragrances. This one though is just a little bit too far on that end. And it's unfortunate for me because I love vanilla fragrances, even though most vanillas do lean feminine, but there are some that are completely unisex, such as like Nishane Ani. Probably my favorite vanilla of all time, but it is pretty expensive. It's probably because that one's much more spicy and woody. This, however, I think because of that very sugary opening, the cashmere that dries down to that kind of very sweet, creamy vanilla does make it a little bit more feminine. Doesn't mean if you're a guy watching this one, you love vanilla, you can't rock this one. You absolutely can, because I can wear it still. But I was slightly hesitant. And I thought when I first seen that oud note, I was like, okay, this might be very unisex because oud is usually a very masculine note. But like I said earlier, the way it's done in here is a very safe kind of a crowd-pleasing way, which I don't blame Phlur for doing. That's a very smart move. But ladies, this will be absolutely sexy on you. Now for age groups that I think is best to wear Vanilla Skin, I think this one is on the youthful side rather than mature, just because of how sugary sweet it is. Most of the time, those notes which do lean youthful. This one's no different. I would probably say anybody 30 and below the best for vanilla skin, but I know a lot of people get mad when I kind of categorize these fragrances as age groups. But I'm just trying to paint you guys the best picture in my head on what I kind of picture wearing each fragrance. So this one is youthful. Doesn't mean that if you are a little bit older or mature and you like this fragrance, you can't wear it. You can. No fragrance is kind of targeted towards one age group or the other, but some do smell youthful, some do smell mature, and this one, without a doubt, is a youthful leaning. I just don't think more like classy, mature women or guys would actually wear this one or enjoy it as much as somebody in their early 20s, mid 20s. And I think these Phlurs are actually targeted towards a younger crowd. Of course, being like heavy at Sephora, when you go to Sephora, you will without a doubt see this brand there. I believe that's the only like store you can actually buy Phlur besides like on their website. It's just kind of that younger hipster kind of brand in my opinion, which isn't a bad thing. Now, wrapping the review off, talking on the performance that you're gonna get with the perfume version of Vanilla Skin. Now for me, honestly, it was still below average from my testing. Slightly better than the body spray, of course, because with that, I got around maybe 4 hours of longevity. After that, it completely fell off. With the Eau de Parfum version of Vanilla Skin, I got maybe up to that 6-hour mark of decent longevity. After that though, you really can't detect it that much. So it's not gonna be a beast mode fragrance, and that's kind of what I talked about a little bit earlier, being very intimate. And of course, when you think of a name like Vanilla Skin, it almost gives off that kind of skin scent vibe. And like I said, it's a fragrance that you want to be kind of cozied up with somebody and bring them a little bit closer to detect it. Because that goes along with the projection as well. It's a very intimate, soft projector, meaning that it's gonna be very close to your intimate scent bubble. It's not gonna really push off far where everybody can smell it. But if you are kind of walking around in the sea halls and stuff, people behind you will still be able to smell it, but it's not really gonna push off the skin if you're just standing still. Which makes this a perfect date night, intimate situation fragrance. Even though I was expecting a little bit better performance, especially coming from a woody, vanilla, sweet fragrance, that's really not what you're gonna get. Even though it's not a bad thing to have a fragrance that's not a beast mode, not every fragrance has to be a room filler, be it beast mode and nuclear. Sometimes you do want something a little bit more soft. Even though you are going to get a slight bump up in the performance with this version compared to the body spray, I still think it's worth it because it smells much more dense and rich when it comes to the scent profile. That's going to do it for my review of the brand new Phlur Vanilla Skin. Let me know down below if any of you guys have any experience with this house, and if you do, what is your favorite from them? I'm very curious. For me, mine will still be Tangerine Boy because that is a summer banger. But besides that, leave a like, subscribe down below if you guys haven't already, and of course, I'll catch all of you back here in my next upload. Take care, everybody.